Did you know that plastic bags, food, wires, and clothes found in recycling bins are costing taxpayers thousands of dollars? Please visit the Fairhaven Board of Health website to find more information how you can recycle these items through town-sponsored programs.
So we're here today to talk about the recycling program. DEP gave us a $30,000 grant to clean up our recycling. So we're sending people out onto the street. You may have seen them. There's three young ladies, and Dan is out there on the street checking your recycle bin. They're leaving you a little notice if there's something wrong, explaining what's wrong with your bin, and hopefully you'll clean that up so that the next time we won't have it. The reason we're doing that is because if we don't clean up our recycling, then we're going to get charged a premium when we go to renegotiate our contract next June. So we really have to clean up our recycling. The MRFs are saying that they're going to grade us on an A, B, or a C, the C being the worst, the A being the best. So we want Fairhaven's recycling to be an A. So that's why we're out looking through your bin and explaining what should and shouldn't be in there. So Dan will be out on the street with the three other ladies, and that's why we're out there, to try and clean up your recycling.
So the biggest thing with our recycling program is a lot of things can be recycled, just not in these bins. And it really comes down to how they're processed. A lot of things, such as plastic bags, cords, things like that, will wrap around the machines at the recycling plant, which can pose a hazard to workers as they have to cut those items out. So our recycling bins, the orange topped ones, are specifically for items that came on the postcard that you got in the mail. And anything that's not on that list doesn't belong in here. So items like this, it's got food still on it. It's not something that we need to see. Plastic bags, this is a problem. This is all gonna wrap around the machine at the plant. So the best place to bring your bags is to the grocery store. The grocery store has a bin right on the entrance when you come in. It doesn't just mean shopping bags. It could be any type of thin plastic that can go in those bins. It's a specialty type of recycling. Anything that's loose can also get stuck in the machine. So if you have a bottle, you can leave the jar cap on the bottle. You can leave anything, but just don't leave it loose. You can leave it off, you can leave it on, just don't leave it loose. This is something else we're seeing. The cup, it can be recycled. The lid and the straw, those go in the garbage bin. The problem with the straw in the cap, in the lid, is that they can tangle around, they're too light, so they actually get stuck in the machine and they won't actually make it through the recycling process. Let's see what else we can find here. Also, it's dirty. We don't want to see anything. Try to rinse it out. I know you're not going to get it perfect, but try to rinse this stuff out. We don't want to see anything like that in there. Again, that's not going to go through the plant because food wrappers, again, small, it's going to get stuck. It's not something that belongs in these bins. So we found a good bin today. So wood, also not recyclable. There's a lot of programs you can put wood. It can be burnt. It can be placed in a lot of specialty bins. It can be reused, repurposed, but it cannot go through the recycling process. These bins are specific to items that can be streamlined recycled. They clump everything together and they put what needs to be and they ship it out to a place that does just those items. So everything's separated at a plant. They're not able to section things out. They're not going to be able to take your items apart and find out what parts they're made of and separate them. It doesn't work that way. See what else we can find in here that's a big issue. But our biggest things, the biggest things that we're finding are any food, any yuck, any tanglers, any bags. We also don't like any bulky items. We've seen a lot of bulky items, and anything that could pose a hazard to the workers when they're there. We've seen diapers, we've seen just dirty general items that they don't belong and they're a hazard. One thing, it's minor, but it is a problem, is medicine bottles. Medicine bottles contain the residue from the medicine still on them. We're not going to turn your bin over it, but we will remind you by putting a tag on just to let you know that that cannot go in there. Because that residue actually could remain on the item even after it's recycled, and it also poses a hazard to anybody that touches it while at the recycling plant. We have two types of tags that you're going to see on your bins. We may not leave a tag at all, and that means that you did good. You may see a thank you, that's appreciative, but we also might put a note on there, just telling you what you didn't have your bin turned for, but probably shouldn't be in there, just so that we can try to improve our recycling process. The other tag that you're going to see on there is the oops tag. So unlike the thank you tag that we'll put on there, this contains the items that cannot go on there. So these are the items that are the biggest issue. As I mentioned, any plastic bags. So we have plastic sheeting, things like that. That's this item. If you see this item, that means anything that was bagged. That means you put your recyclables actually in a bag. Items that are in here cannot be separated from the bag at the plant. They have to go into the bin loose. So when they go to the plant, if they are in a bag, they're going to take the whole bag and they're going to put it in the trash, and that kind of defeats the point of recycling. So do leave your items loose, don't bag them. Yuck, that indicates that your containers either had food in them or there was something loose in there that was just dirty and it was a problem. So that doesn't necessarily mean that there was just food or liquid. It could mean a lot of different things. Yuck is yuck. Clothing does not belong in there. We've seen backpacks, we've seen clothes. There are donation bins throughout the town of Fairhaven. At the Council of Aging, you'll see a white bin, and the fire station, you'll see a white bin. Both of those bins actually go towards hoarding remediation. The town actually gets funds from the fabric that we collect, and that helps to pay to fix the hoarding issues within town. And it is a bigger issue than you would imagine. So anything that's clothing, please bring it there. Don't put it in our bins here, in these orange bins. Anything that can tangle, hoses, cords, the straps that go around boxes, a string, anything like that, that can tangle around items. We've also seen electrical cords. I know around the corner, I had a chemical sprayer that had the hose that was still attached to that. That's also a tangler. Any large items, we've seen lamps, we've seen big brooms, we've seen propane tanks, wood, that's all a big item. So if they checked off this bulky item, that's what's in there. It means that something's in there that can't be recycled. It's a big, bulky item. On the bottom, you'll see a notes category. We're going to write you a brief note. We may or may not actually write something in there. Depends on how self-explanatory the top part is. But we're trying to write you a note so that you know for next time what's going on and how you can fix that problem so that your bin doesn't get turned. If we place the oops tag on your bin, your recycling will not be picked up that week. If you fix your recycling before the truck leaves the area, they will come back and they'll pick up your bin if you let us know. And the turned bin indicates for the recycling crew that this is not a bin to be picked up. So this is good. We like cardboard as long as it's crushed, which everything in here is. All these boxes are collapsed. Paper is good. Container, it's nice and clean. So we like containers. Nice and clean. This is the only thing I would say that this is minor, but again, medicine bottles should not go into the recycling bin. toilet paper and paper towel rolls. Those are good. Those can go in a recycling bin. Water bottles. Those are good. We can put those in a recycling bin. So this is an example of a good bin that we like to see. I'm going to put thank you tag on this bin.
DEP gave us a $30,000 grant to try and help us clean up our recycling, and there seems to be a lot of confusion about what can and can't be recycled. So myself and Dan are out here today trying to help explain everything about what you should be putting in your bin and what you shouldn't be putting in your bin. So we brought a few items that tend to be confusing to the public. We can start with pizza boxes, because that's a big one for people. Pizza boxes are definitely recyclable now. I know, you used to hear, tear off the cover. The people who do the recycling and separate it say they like the box, they don't like the pizza. So as long as there's no food residue in it, you can put the whole box into your recycling. Now, the list of things that can go in your recycle bin has gotten very small. So the items on this side that we'll discuss first, these are the items that can go in your bin, and the other items are things that shouldn't be in your bin. So we'll talk about those after. So the first ones are, everybody should have gotten a mailing to their home. So jugs, jars, paper, plastic containers, those are all items that can go in aluminum cans or cans in general. Those are items that can go into your bin. As long as they're clean and they're dry, they can all go into your recycle bin. So you could put this jar in if you emptied out the liquid and you rinsed out the jar. That can go in your bin. And yes, the covers do stay on the bin, on the bottles. If the cover is not attached to the bottle, don't put it in the bin. Put it into the trash. So if it's attached, in the recycle bin. If it's not, then it goes in trash. So it's the same thing for all your jugs and jars. If you have a cover, put the cover on. You gotta rinse them out. They need to be cleaned, okay? Your newspapers, your junk mail, your regular mail. What I do at my house is I tear off the information, my personal information. The rest of the paper goes into the recycling, and I just have to dispose of that little piece. I just have to shred that little piece with my personal information. So that can go into your recycle bin. So paper bags, if they're clean, they can go into your recycle bin also. If there's food residue in them, then they should go into the trash. That's what we call yuck in the recycle industry. So these are what's called clamshell containers, because of the way they open. So what the Mass DEP is recommending, and they're going to make a final decision in September, is if they're clean and they're clear, they can be recycled. If they're colored or they're dirty, they should go into the trash. So your clean clamshells can go into your recycling. Glass bottles, again, if the cover's on, if you have the cover, put it on, rinse the bottle out. That goes in. Your jugs and jars, if you have the cover, put it on, rinse it out, goes in. Your clean pizza box, and your can. So pretty much that's what should be in your recycle bin. So everything else that you used to do, we're gonna walk away from that. We're only sticking with those items, and follow the mailer that we sent to your house. Now, I know you have a lot of questions, and we see a lot of things. We've been out on the street, looking through the bins, grading people's recycle bins, leaving you a little tag telling you what should and shouldn't be in there. So we brought a couple items just to clear up any questions we have. So, again, we already talked about this. If the bottles have stuff in them, if there's food residue in them, that's what we call yuck. You leaving your takeout container with your meal from last night, that would be yuck. That should be in your trash, definitely not in your recycling. If you have a lot of bottles, we see a lot of bottles with deposits on them. You could always rinse them out and call the Boy Scouts or some charitable organization. They'd be happy to pick them up. And then if you don't want to do the bottle return, that's okay. Just give it to some charity. They'll come and get them from you definitely. So this, our number one concern through Mass DEP and the recycling people is plastic bags. So, first of all, they don't want you to bag your recyclables. Your recyclables should go in the bin individually. Do not bag them, because when you bag them, when it gets to the plant, it becomes trash. They take 10 tractor trailer loads of product out of the recycle plants every day that should have been recyclable. But because they either had yuck in them or they were bagged recyclables, they get thrown away. And the MRFs are saying, we're gonna start charging the community for that. So that's why we're doing this program. We're trying to clean up our recyclables. So, your grocery shopping bags, they are recyclable, but not in your bin. These should be taken back to the retail store where you got them from. Probably don't know this, but the covers that go on your cases of water, any type of overlay plastic, that as well could go to the retailer. These items are what they make Trex decking out of, and there's a market for these, just not in your recycle bin. Food bags, they have food residue in them, they should go into your trash. You're getting a package from a company, the paper ones with the bubble inside, those are not recyclable. Those are trash. These plastic ones are trash. Your toilet paper, overwrap, those would go into the trash. Plastic bags, if you had them and they were clean, or they don't have to be clean. If they're clean, they can go into the recycling back at the retail store. If they're dirty, they're gonna go into the trash. Our second biggest problem, hold on. Shredded paper. That is a big problem for the MRFs too. So, you could use your shredded paper. If you like shredding your paper in your bills and things, you can use shredded paper for weed control in your garden. You put it down around your plants and you water it and it holds the moisture down, so it works great for weed control. But it doesn't work great in your recycle bin, okay? So, or you could do like I do and rip off the little tag with your information. Whatever you prefer. Lottery tickets do not go in your recycle bin, okay? This is all trash, or weed control. Bubble wrap, all the various types of bubble wrap, that can go with your bags getting returned to a retailer, or it goes in the trash. Okay, your planters, everybody has these hanging around. You get in your fall plants, your fall mums. So these you could recycle at Arsene Street. It's called rigid plastic. This shopping cart is also rigid plastic. This pail is rigid plastic. All these things are recyclable, just not in your bin. You could bring them to Arsene Street and recycle them through there. Inner tubes and tires, definitely not recyclable. These are definitely trash. And we see a lot of these. Tarps, not recyclable. Now these are our second biggest problem in recycling. They're called tanglers. So there's strapping, there's toys that are stringy, there's extension cords that are attached to, I don't know what we've seen, toaster ovens, toasters, lamps. All of those things shouldn't be in your recycle bin. Any kind of strap, any kind of large something that could get caught into the machinery. String, kids' toys. You could donate these to, one of the local homeless shelters if they still worked, or if it's broken, you could put it in your trash, but not in your recycle bin. Prescription bottles, they're actually considered medical waste. They should never be in your recycle bin. Any medications that you have, you could bring them to the police department. There's a bin right inside the lobby, and you can just open open the little door and throw them in there. You don't have to talk to anybody, you just put them in. Little pouches with the juice boxes, or there's the baby food pouches. Those cannot be recycled. Those have to go into your garbage as well. We see a lot of lawn furniture and chairs, you know, folding chairs and kids' chairs. Those all should be into your trash. Or if they're plastic, they can go in the rigid plastic at Arsene Street. And this is another problem that we find all the time. People put their grass clippings. I don't know why. Grass clippings shouldn't be in your recycle bin. We do have compost bins available that you can purchase through the health department. If you go on our website, you can get the information. But your grass clippings and your tree trimmings should not be in your recycle bin. That, when we find that, we have to turn the bin around, because the truck driver is not going to take your recyclables, the whole bin. This little bit of grass clippings could contaminate an entire truck, so the whole truck would get turned away at the recycle plant because of the grass clippings or food waste in the bin. Dirty rags, they should not be in your recycle bin. If they were clean rags, you could put them in the textile recovery bin, but dirty rags go in the trash. We see a lot of cigarette butts and cigar butts and ashes. Ashes and cigarettes should not be in your recycle bin. Those are definitely trash. And the strangest thing of all, and I don't understand this, but we have seen so many diapers, dirty diapers, in the recycle bin. That clearly is yuck. And that has no business being in anybody's recycle bin. That is trash. So no matter how clean or dirty it is, it's trash. Paper towels, they should be into your trash bin. Those are not recyclable either. And I think that any type of fishing line or netting, anything like this that's stringy and tangly, that should not go into your recycle bin. And I know everybody wants to know, all right, I got my plastic cup. Is my cup recyclable? The cup is recyclable if it's clean. The straw and the cover goes into the trash. These items get caught into the machinery at the recycle plant when they're sorting our recycling. So they drop down through and they break their machine. Then they have to stop production until they clean everything out. So that's a fee that it costs the production company, and they're going to pass that fee on to us. So that's why we're out here, one of the reasons, to try and clean this up. So remember, cup yes, straw and cover no. And then the last thing we have, our friend Tweety here came to visit, is a lot of people have stuffed animals. We work with a company called Bay State Textile Services. Bay State Textile Services is very generous on the items that they'll accept. You can find the list on the bin itself, or it's on my website, on the Town of Fairhaven Board of Health website. They take any kind of textile that's clean and dry. If it's clothes, shoes, pocketbooks, belts, blanket sheets, towels, small throw rugs such as this, any of those items, as long as they're clean and dry, you can put them in the bin. The bins are located at the Council on Aging, at the Fairhaven Fire Station, and at the North Fairhaven Improvement Association. Bay State Textile Services pays us $100 per ton for these items. We use that money for hoarding remediation programs to try and help people who have hoarding issues, to help them stop. There's not a lot of money for people with hoarding, so it's a good resource. It's a good way to generate revenue, and these items are not going into your trash and recycling, so it's saving you tax dollars. So please, if you could utilize those bins, it's very appreciated. It's a group of people that really need our help. And then another option is, if you don't want to use the plastic bags and return them to the manufacturer, then you could always use a bag that's, it's reusable. So you can get these anywhere, and they make them teeny now. This one has a little clip. You can hook it on your purse if you want to and keep it with you. I have mine in my glove box. So you can always use one of these if you don't want to return your bags to the local retailer. And I don't know, some more kids' toys over here. The wind took it, hold on. So these things are called rigid plastic. They can go to Arsene Street, or they can go into your trash. So I hope that clears it up. DEP is coming out with a list of all the items that they think that people want to know that they have questions on. If you have any other further questions, you can check the Town of Fairhaven website. We have a lot of new information. We update that on a weekly basis. Or you can give us a call. We're happy to answer any questions you have.